Hello and welcome to round 5 of Grand Prix Oklahoma City. I'm Randy Bueller, joined in the booth by Jacob Van Loonen, and we are joined in the feature match area by a pair of Hall of Famers. Luis Scott-Vargas on the left of your screen is playing a twin deck. He's got the green flavored twin, so I guess we call this teamer twin now.
Yeah.
It was Tarmo twin when Patrick Dickman invented it. Paul Rietzl on the other side of the screen, by the way, he's playing Merfolk.
That is a very big surprise. I mean, Paul Rietzl is one of the affinity guys, right? He is.
Sure.
He's been playing that deck. I think it might just be because of how close he is to Sperling that I've never imagined him playing a deck that was not affinity in a modern event, and here he is playing Merfolk.
I talked to him about the last round. I saw him, he was in line for food like 10 minutes into the round. I'm like, is that good news or bad news, Paul? It's like, great news. Got paired against twin. They can't block any of my creatures. The island walk on all of his Merfolk just allows him to smash over against the twin deck. You know, he's got enough permission to stop them from comboing him off, and he just wins that race pretty easily. I think that's supposed to be the idea anyway. Now he's been dealt another twin matchup here. We'll have to see what happens. Aether Vials are ticking up. Luis is beating down with a Tarmogoyf. That doesn't seem
just
like
a
that's
1-2.
enough. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's enough to actually race the fish. All right, what does Aether Vial have?
I mean, if he has an Exarch and a Splinter Twin, he's just...
You may as well activate it, right?
Yeah.
No one drops in Paul's hand. And now with the trigger on the stack that would allow Paul to put a 2-mana creature into play for free, Luis is going to tap it down with Deceiver Exarch.
That's a tight play there from Luis.
Really is. Yeah, that's super smart.
Because he can be pretty sure that Paul doesn't have a 1 in hand.
Well, I mean, Paul even activated an end step and declined.
Yeah.
Just because why not activate it, right? I have a card I can activate. I may as well. Yeah, that actually slows Paul down. I mean, the Merfolk deck tends to be all 2-drops. It just tends to be
yeah, it's
how
like
the
a
curve
pile
works
of
out.
Lords and some Silver Gill Adepts, and now they play Tidebinder Rage and Harbinger of the Tides, I believe.
And here is Silver Gill Adept, really master of the waves.
Ooh, interesting. And I think he found a 3rd land also. Another colorless producing land. And remember, most of Paul's cards are UU to cast.
Yeah, it's true. Harbinger, Lord of Atlantis, Master of Pearl Trident, the Silver Gill Adept. He's also got 4 Reejerey. That's a lot of Lords. With 2 Phantasmal Images, he's fully 14 potential Lords plus the 4 Masters on top of that.
Reejerey does some fun things in this deck.
Indeed.
You untap your lands, letting you use your mana as efficiently as possible. Mutavaults, tapping down your opponent's creatures. Untapping Aether Vials, letting you put more stuff into play. It's a Lord, but it does a lot more than just be a Lord.
And Paul has not come out of the gates blisteringly fast this game, though. Right, his Aether Vial got tapped, so nobody got into play for free that way. He's only got 1 blue source, so he's played 3 turns, and he's only put 1 Silver Gill Adept onto the table. Tarmogoyf is still just a 1-2, right?
I believe so.
Paul debating a block with the Adept? No. Okay. This time, Luis is not going to tap anything down. Now, it seems like there was a window there where if Luis had a Splinter Twin, he would have just won the game last turn.
Yeah.
So we survived the turn. I mean, from Paul's perspective, he was on just a Mutavault up. We now know, Luis does not in fact have Splinter Twin in his hand. That was the scary turn. Now what? Luis is just trying to draw a twin. Paul's ability to mess with that in his main deck is limited. He does have a Vapor Snag.
He has 4 Harbinger of the Tides.
And 4 Harbinger
also,
of the Tides.
which is actually very good against Twin, because you just hold it in your hand with Aether Vial up.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they go to put the Twin on, when they tap the Twin to make the copy, you can just get him.
It's a pretty sick tech.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a Reejerey, the 3-mana Lord that allows him to untap things. Wow, he's going to follow this up with Master. Yeah, Master of the Waves.
Yeah. And that's for 3 illusions.
Indeed. He's going to untap the Aether Vial with his Reejerey.
Yeah.
Is this still with the Master trigger on the stack, so he can actually activate Aether Vial again?
Yeah, so he might just put another Reejerey to play here.
If he has one. Doesn't look like he has one. I see him tapping the Master. No, maybe he does. Oh, he puts Kira into play.
Oof.
Great glass spinner. 2 blue pips, and it's now hard to target his stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now there's a lot of stuff in play on Paul's side. And that Aether Vial on 2. I mean, Luis is... I don't know how much Luis has played Twin against Merfolk recently. Right, is he... But, I mean, he's smart enough to just figure out the Harbinger of the Tides tech and to see that Aether Vial on 2 counters as a potential combo breaker.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he can afford to play around that.
Right.
You know, he might just think to himself, okay, well, if he has Harbinger, I lose, you know. But it's exciting the first time it happens. I haven't seen that yet, that interaction. But I like that a lot. That really does push Merfolk into...
Yeah, I mean, why did Paul switch from Affinity to Merfolk? It might be that Harbinger is actually enough to put it over the top. It just makes this Twin matchup a lot easier, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it seems so good now, whereas before it was...
And
it was
with Master,
decent.
right? It's
Yeah.
2 blue pips. It's another UU Merfolk. It means, yeah, he's all the way up to 4 Masters. I mean, it's a pretty creature-heavy build Paul's got here. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28 creatures. Plus the 2 images in Akira, 31 creatures.
Yeah,
That's a
mean, that
lot of
seems-
creatures.
You really need that density, though, when you're playing all these lords.
All right, well,
12 lords.
Luis surprises Paul with a Deceiver Exarch, picks off the Silvergill Adept.
How many of them just came from your library?
Yeah, goes and gets the red mana, thinning his library as much as possible. Luis's plan, I don't even know if he can survive 1 more turn. Maybe he can survive 1 turn with his guys on defense. Can't survive 2. Basically has to find a Splinter Twin and hope Paul does not have Harbinger.
I believe Paul does have Harbinger.
Does he really?
Yeah.
I almost want to see it now. Just to say we've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, another Tarmogoyf, yeah. Luis has got to... He's got to play defense here. Oh, jeez. That gives all the Merfolk Island Walk.
Yeah, that's Island Walk, and there's Akira, so they're protected too.
Wow. Now, the elemental tokens do not get Island Walk, so they can still be blocked.
Yeah, the Mutavaults, though, which are illusions and Merfolk, or elementals and Merfolk.
They're what, 4-power Island Walkers now?
Yeah, 5 power? So
Oh, the
there's-
Regery. I forgot the Regery.
Yeah, yeah. And I think he has another Regery in his
Wow.
hand, too, so they're actually going to have 6 power, I believe.
If he's got a Regery in his hand, then the Mutavaults, he can even play it off the Aether Vial. Wow.
Yeah,
Can he deal 18 this turn? That's
I
the
think he
question.
can.
It feels like probably. Now, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Luis can do the math. He's like, all right, fine. Island Walk and the Mutavault, good enough. Crazy Paul Rietzl, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Showing up with the Merfolk and showing Splinter Twin. This matchup got a lot worse for you now.
It's pretty exciting to watch, too. I mean, Master of Waves pumping your Mutavaults in addition
Mhm.
to the other things it's doing, that's something that, you know, we've seen that before back in Standard, but, you know, when you're playing a Merfolk deck, it just seems like cheating. You get a double dip like that.
All right, well, let's talk about this match. Trey Ballou is playing, yes, that is Boom Bust that Andrew Boswell is leaning over and reading carefully. This deck is crazy. So this is a local Oklahoma City player who's
Okay.
basically been playing, or sorry, not Oklahoma City, it's Tulsa, local Oklahoma player, my apologies. Boros Bust, it's basically red-white prison with Boom Bust, Archangel of Tides, Magus of the Tabernacle, etc. Now, he's been playing this in Modern ever since Modern existed. And then they printed Archangel of Tides. He's like, finally, my run of 6-3 day 1 finishes on Grand Prix can end. Archangel is going to put me over the top. So there you go.
Yeah, red-white control decks are pretty exciting. I've had fun watching people play them in the past. At regionals a long time ago that I played in, somebody was in the top 8 playing Wildfire with a whole bunch of protection from red creatures.
He
Was-
actually lists his deck name as Red White Stacks. As
Ah.
in Smokestack, as in the vintage prison deck of Mishra's Workshops.
So does he have Ghost Quarter lock somehow?
He
does have Ghost
has
Quarters.
4 Ghost Quarters.
And he has Crucibles.
Yeah,
3
Crucible.
Crucibles.
There you
Man,
go.
wow.
Ghost Quarter Crucible is pretty nice. Yeah, Magus, Archangel, Baneslayer to attack with. Now, Andrew Boswell, meanwhile, running a Jund deck. Andrew, been doing really well on the various open circuit tournaments. Also a Sugarloaf, New York resident, right? Playtesting partner of Reed Duke, who's really starting to develop a reputation of his own as being more than just, Reed's friend, but in fact a Pro Tour player of his own right.
That was an interesting choice there. Trey, falling very behind there on 0 cards, still chooses to use his Lightning Helix to kill the Liliana as opposed to the Confidant. Perhaps the Confidant is a win condition. Jund working so hard, though. We see in the graveyard there that he's already used Kolagon's Command, one of the more exciting cards from recent memory. Now,
yeah, that card is creeping into a lot of modern decks.
A lot of different modern decks. Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, it's always a 2-for-1 that affects the board.
2 copies main for the boss.
Yeah, Brad also had 2 copies.
Paying to 4 mana to Ghostly Prison, allowing him to attack. You may know that effect as propaganda.
Yeah,
It was originally printed in blue, migrated its way over to white.
it was
white
pretty good in blue.
And it was not bad. I think it is properly a white effect, though. I mean, that's one of the places as the game grew up and R&D kind of clarified which colors got which effects. Taxing effects definitely became a white thing.
Blue had enough.
Yeah, though that I was in a lot of those conversations about how to clean up the color pie, and it was very much how do we move things out of blue and how do we make sure the other colors have their fair share.
I imagine those were some fun conversations to be a part of. The taxing effect, though, of a card like Ghostly Prisoner or Propaganda, that feels so white. You know, it's definitely a white type of thing. Yeah, at this point, it looks like Andrew, even though he's going to have to, battle his way through this Ghostly Prison and pay a bunch of mana, he's just going to be able to crack away for a few turns in a row, especially with Trey just drawing off the top here.
Right, I mean, one guy's drawing off the top, and the other guy's got a Dark Confidant, and they're both on high enough life totals that Andrew's mana, I mean, he's just able to kind of implement his game plan. Like, it looks like they fought a long, grindy fight before he finally ran Trey out of resources. I mean, you can see both graveyards are kind of piled full of stuff, but when the dust settles, you know what? The Jund deck is up like a Dark Confidant, and that's all it needs. All right, we should get back to our main match. The second Ghostly Prison is going to slow this one down even more. It still feels like the Boz has the edge with that Dark Confidant, but I definitely want to see game 2 between Paul and Luis. There, Paul's got that Aether Vial once again on turn 1. Luis once again has the turn 2 Tarmogoyf, but Tarmogoyf didn't really get it done for Luis in that first game.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, he's got to keep it in. Like, I don't know what he's going to take out looking at his list here. His sideboard, I mean, he has, I guess he's bringing in a Roast, which is quite good. Rending Volley is very good.
Oh, sure.
Pyroclasm has potential, but
it's tough. You got to get it before the Lords start pumping each other up. But yeah, you probably bring it in. It's just not, oh my god, amazing. This is not Andrew and Trey. This is, of course, Paul and Luis. There we go. Now, do you like the green version of the twin decks? I mean, there's all these different twin variants floating around. What's the case for the Teamer-flavored twin, Tarmo twin?
So the case for Tarmo Twin is that when people are playing more aggressive decks, like you get to play Tarmogoyf, which is just this awesome defensive wall.
Luis brought in his Ancient Grudge. Kill the Aether Vial.
And it also just makes you better against mid-range strategies. And also in Grand Prix in general, Tarmo Twin is one of the best performing Grand Prix modern decks. But
just having that extra angle to attack with. In the
I mean, when you're attacking people with a big Tarmogoyf, people oftentimes are they're tapping out. They have to kill it. they don't play correctly against you. It's an interesting deck. It has a lot of different angles. I think now that it's more of a known entity, especially at a bigger tournament, it might not be as strong, but here he's just chaining removal spells together and playing that tempo game with the Tarmogoyf. You see him. This is definitely the worst.
Tarmogoyf's hitting a lot harder here, right? I don't know if we have a Tarmogoyf counter, but we're up to instant land
I
artifact
think it's a
creature.
5/6.
And yeah, now land. Or what's the fifth? I count 4.
Oh, it's 4. Yeah, it's 4 right now.
2 cards, right?
Yeah, a much more relevant clock than it was in game 1. And also, he's just, he hit Paul's Lord, he hit the Aether Vial. Now, what does Paul have to follow up with? See another Lord in his hand. See a pair of Lords. He can go Lord and activate Mutavault. I don't know. The double blue, Mutavault's not friends with the Lord of Atlantis and the Master of the Pearl Trident. I mean, they get along okay.
Yeah, they get it's weird. They have this love-hate relationship.
Exactly.
Where he's like, he doesn't want to get them out there, but once they're out there, he's totally down to hang out. So changeling of him or her. Both.
Mutavault, yeah.
Beautiful. It's
gotta
all
be
things.
both.
Yeah. I mean, right now it looks like Luis has 2 cards left in hand from the looks of things. I mean, he
Yep.
has that Ancient Grudge in his yard, which can be used to fight another Vial, but at this point, Vial is not overly relevant anyway.
All right. Paul plays Cavern on Merfolk. Doesn't have to worry about any counters. I'm not sure Luis would have them in here anyway. Mutavault fires up. This is just attack for 6.
That's what it looks like.
I mean, Paul does win this race with a Lord next turn, right? Paul drops Luis. Yeah, I mean, even 6 and 6 would do it.
I mean, Luis may have a removal spell, which I guess he'd target the Bastard, even though it's not one of the attacking creatures with.
Yeah, Snapcaster for the Lightning Bolt. Down goes the Lord, which means the Island Walk goes away, which means Snapcaster Mage gets to block Mutavault, and with no Lord in play, that's now a trade. So I think that's exactly what Paul saw as a possibility. Kind of a great turn for Luis there.
Yeah, about as good as he could ask for.
Trades 1 Snapcaster Mage for both Mutavault and also Master of the Pearl Trident.
It's very rare you get to do something like that in Modern. Get that much value out of a card. Ooh, I like this.
You have a Tarma graphic. Love it.
Yeah. Look at him down there. He is a 4/5.
Now here's Lord of Atlantis. So that's an add up attacking for 3? Is that where we are?
I think
Or did
he's
it already attack for 3?
I think he already attacked for 3. I think now it's Paul thinking about whether or not he should Harbinger Goyf back to Luis's hand.
And he does. No, Luis had what, 1 card left? Yeah, Luis had 1 card in his hand, so... No, he had 2 cards in his hand, so hypothetically, they could have been Exarch Twin, and Paul would have just lost the game with that play. Oh, he can't play for Fast with 4 anyway. He couldn't have enough mana to play the Flash on the Harbinger. So that play makes a lot of sense. Now he's definitely set up to win this race.
It's not really OTD
And
like that.
Luis can try to block, but there's this whole Island Walk thing. So yeah, Luis removes the Lord. Now plays Tarmogoyf and wants to block. Wow, he's leaving
No,
3
so that means he
untapped mana.
has Exarch Twin in hand. Right? That's the only reason you wouldn't play the Goyf there.
Combat.
I think.
I mean, I can see the Twin.
Yeah, I saw the Twin earlier.
I think he did find an Exarch. He activated Desolate Lighthouse last turn and then had a draw step, so he's seen 2 cards since last turn. Wow, Luis is going to pull this off. 2 Lightning Bolts, that amazing Snapcaster, and Paul committed his Harbinger to the board last turn to bounce a Tarmogoyf and make sure that he could win the race on damage. Now, can Paul break up the combo without Harbinger? Yes, he can.
Okay.
He's going to just dismember, kill Exarch while Luis is tapped out. Also clears a path for a Silver Adept. So 2 points of damage is actually relevant if a Lord comes down next turn. Pyroclasm.
Wow.
Jeez, so many burn spells. Luis is just having a fish fry. And
Yep,
how
so
big is the Tarmogoyf?
I think it's a 5/6 now, thanks to the sorcery that is Pyroclasm. If he can somehow get that Splinter Twin to send into the graveyard, then it's a 6/7.
Yeah, Paul's down to 5, though, right?
Yes, Paul's chomping here.
Must not have been 5. I was surprised to see Paul at 5.
Oh, yep. See, he used the Desolate
Ah,
Lighthouse to
put an
pitch.
enchantment in the graveyard to get the last point of damage in.
I like it.
Crazy. The loot house doing it all. Found the combo. Didn't need the combo. Just needed an enchantment in the graveyard. So Tarmogoyf could finish Paul off. Crazy.
That's a fun interaction there. That's one that comes up very rarely. The Desolate Lighthouse, pitch a card, make my Tarmogoyf bigger in combat. They
It
don't see
definitely
coming.
seems like Paul's Harbinger was played correctly. Like, he didn't lose to the combo anyway. The fact that he had Dismember in his hand makes that, I think, a lot easier to
yeah.
just commit the Harbinger for commits the Harbinger for the tempo play. Now, meanwhile, on our other table, the Boros bust deck, red-white stacks, whatever you want to call it. Leyline of Sanctity at the beginning of the game, so no discard spells for you. Ghostly Prison on turn 3. It was a Lightning Helix to take out Dark Confidant. Andrew Boswell did win that first game through multiple Ghostly Prisons, but this one sure seems like it's setting up a lot better for Trey.
Yeah, the Leyline of Sanctity is actually going to pose a pretty big problem for Andrew Boswell, who has Inquisition and Thoughtseize in his head right now. It's just doing a lot. Also, very good against Liliana the Veil.
Right.
Which, not currently in Andrew's hand, but Andrew probably gonna have to find himself a Maelstrom Pulse to deal with the Leyline.
How many does it even have? I mean, that's a card that we've seen people starting to cut from these decks.
Probably is 2. 2 seems to be the go-to number these days.
2 is his number.
Yeah, I don't like playing less than 2 Maelstrom Pulse in Jund because Maelstrom Pulse beats all the riffraff that you play against.
The
You know,
random
like
garbage, like
all
Leyline of Sanctity.
like all the Boros bust. And hey, it kills anglers.
Liliana. Plus ability is not thwarted by the Leyline.
No, it is not. Would he get the
Easy.
path out of him?
Yeah, in exchange for the Inquisition, great trade for Andrew.
Yeah, and see, that's what's so cool about Jund is that when your opponent has a card like Leyline of Sanctity, where they're like, I'm going to invalidate all these cards in your hand, you can just be like, all right, Liliana, I'll just start discarding the cards you invalidated. You discard your cards. Yeah, I understand my Liliana's much worse, but it's actually doing a lot of work right now.
Liliana's ticking up.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Is this for
Targeted discard card for another real card, I guess.
Boom Bust is kind of just a 2-mana Stone Rain when you have flagstones in play, which he does.
Yep.
But he chose not to cast it last turn. Interested to see where that goes.
Is he defending the last card in his hand? Needed something to discard to Liliana? All right, well, let's get back to game 3 between Paul and Luis.
Yeah, we can come back over here.
Aether Vial on turn 1 for Paul once again. Luis brought in Ancient Grudge in the first game because he knew how powerful those Aether Vials could be. And you know what? That unanswered Aether Vial, Paul would have been so much faster. He probably would have won game 1, even through Bolt Pyroclasm. Feels like he could have won that first game if it wasn't for the Grudge killing his Aether Vial.
I mean, Pyroclasm is oftentimes too slow.
Right.
Like when they get like multiple lords in play, that Pyroclasm doesn't look very good.
Paul actually did have a 1-drop in this draw, first time in the match. Curse Catcher enters the battlefield.
Curse Catcher, a good card defending against things like Pyroclasm early on, forcing your opponent to have that third land to go over the top of it.
Turn 2 is Power Up Immutable.
I imagine Paul does have a Lord in hand. Probably
But
just wants to play around Pyroclasm a little bit.
Yeah, that Aether Vial allows him to put it into play later.
The other thing is that Luis had a red source untapped, so it's kind of
Lightning Bolt risk.
yeah. You don't want to give him an opportunity to use his mana as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, he did throw away 2 damage, though.
That's true.
I mean, I agree with you. It seems correct. But, I mean, it was a bit of a sacrifice there.
He's also kind of trading himself well to leave up Vial on 2, you know. Ooh, Manamo School at Water's Edge.
Indeed.
It's a card that we don't see in Merfolk very often. I guess it untaps Kira. Great glass spinner.
Yep.
Stranger things have happened.
All right. Well, in this case, it taps for blue, right? It's
Yeah.
strictly better than an island other than the Blood Moon impact. Casts is Master of the Pearl Trident. Comes over
Comes in for 6.
with Island Walkers. Yeah, okay. Wow. So Luis says, tap your Aether Vial. I do not want you to be threatening Harbinger. And I would like to have Deceiver Exarch in play.
And this is scary for Paul because
Oh, it's super scary. I mean, he's got the game 1 next turn, but he has to get a next turn. I don't know if Luis has the combo, but I mean, this is the game, right? This is what Twin does to you. Like, if they get to untap on turn 4 with an Exarch in play, you can just lose the game. I saw Cryptic Command in that hand. I did not see. Okay. Wow, he had the Harbinger. And Paul decides to commit it to the board.
I think I agree with that.
Do you see a twin in that hand? No copy of Splinter Twin for Luis Scott-Vargas.
For some reason, you needed to alternate it.
But he does have a Cryptic Command.
Yeah, Curse Catcher, though, can counter that.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's
Curse
it.
Catcher counters the Cryptic Command. The creatures are not going to get tapped. The rest of them are, even without the Curse Catcher, still plenty to kill Luis Scott-Vargas. And Paul Rietzl said his deck's great against Twin.
And it looked like it there.
It really did. His creatures are largely unblockable and pretty fast. And he's got enough disruption. I mean, the Harbingers in particular can just bust up the combo. He kind of gets these 4 cards that are awesome in his main deck that are also just killers against the Twin combo.
I think that's also probably the best version of Twin against him because they can play the tempo game with the Tarmogoyf and a whole bunch of
Yeah,
removal
it's a good
spells.
point. It's a good point.
You know?
And then Luis got game 2 that way.
Yeah,
But
I
if
think
that's-
that's his route.
If that's the best Twin deck against Paul, I think I know what I'm playing next time I expect a field full of Splinter Twin.
Yeah. Brad, during the deck tech, said, I expect a field full of Splinter Twin this weekend. So,
Paul
some good
Rietzl-
minds thinking the same way.
Paul Rietzl may have the right deck. Certainly have him on our players to watch. We'll keep an eye on the Hall of Famer. Meanwhile, back in game number 2.
Ooh, Liliana on 12.
12 or 9?
9 there.
Now, what is going on here?
He just casts Bust, which is an Armageddon.
6 mana, destroy all the lands.
He did have Flagstones in play, so he's going to get to search his deck for like a Sacred Foundry.
Pretty nice. Yeah, you get to see the deck do what it does. Couple of Ghostly Prisons. The ley line from the beginning of the game is still there, and now no lands for anybody. So Andrew's not exactly attacking for damage anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, no lands for anybody and a pair of Ghostly Prisons. This could go on for a while. Settle in. Well, the thing is Maelstrom Pulse can deal with both of those Ghostly Prisons at the same time.
True.
For what it's worth, I believe Maelstrom Pulse, if it was being cast, would simply be cast on Leyline of Sanctity because Andrew may have, multiple Liliana
Yeah.
ultimates in the queue at
Liliana's
that point.
ultimate is targeted. It's target player. Separate all permanents, target player control. So, Leyline shutting off Liliana's ultimate, which, yeah, could kill Ghostly Prison. All the permanents from the pile.
Here we go.
Very
Oh,
crazy.
he must have drawn a discard spell. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, in Trey's sitting, we went down to the one land, obviously, so
Oh,
he's got real cards in his hand.
Yeah, Trey pitched Crucible.
Again, I wonder how good the other card must be, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Crucible seems amazing on this board. He's
I don't think
four
you could really
Ghost
do that
Quarter
much
deck?
better than Crucible, especially, I mean, he
Wow.
had a Ghost Quarter in his yard too, I believe.
Kept Boros Signet, maybe? Might have kept Boros Signet there.
Maybe. I mean, he is kind of showing off the top for lands.
Oh, it was Crucible.
Oh, well, that makes sense then.
Ha! Crucible, and Liliana got both of them. Do you even play Signet there? If your hand is Signet Crucible and your opponent has Liliana, don't you just hold the Signet and
I
hope to
think
top deck
so.
a land?
You try to just top deck a land. I think it's got to be the play.
Which card is that? Oh,
Kitchen Finks. Pretty awesome right here, to be honest. Kitchen Finks is.
But Liliana. But yeah, target player sacrifices a creature.
Yeah.
Playline is doing so much work.
So do you think he's just going to start attacking Liliana now? Do you think you have to? Just to block against future Maelstrom Pulses?
What are you worried? You're worried about a Maelstrom Pulse on your ley line? I don't know. I mean, it's only 6 turns to win the game, right?
But I mean, I don't know if the Kitchen Finks is going all the way. I guess you did just Armageddon. You do have the ley line in play.
Nothing's going on. It's an interesting question. He's going Liliana. Okay.
I think I go for Liliana too.
I'll buy that. So Andrew let the Liliana take damage and then end step used his terminate.
Yeah. He was hoping for a land there off the top. Didn't quite get there. Still, no green source here in play for Andrew.
Liliana ticks up. Trey plays his last card with Flash. And down goes Chandra.
Chandra's pretty good on this board, too. Oh, no, it's not. Target player. And up to 1 target creature that player controls. Yeah. Leyline of Sanctity.
Slaughter Pack takes away the other half of the Kitchen Finks for Boswell.
Possible win condition here for Trey.
Any lands? I mean, Ghost Quarter? No, Andrew's probably got a basic left, right?
Oh, count in the graveyard when your opponent just used Slaughter Pact.
Trey continues to attack Liliana. Definitely aware that one Maelstrom Pulse would make his board start to crumble a little bit.
Tight play there from Andrew.
Paying for the pack.
Paying for his pact. You are allowed to put a reminder on the top of your deck, for what it's worth, when you play a pact. Andrew's living on the edge here. Oh, that's a pretty good
Tassiger.
one.
Tasiger does seem pretty good here.
It's not going to attack at all, but yeah, maybe it's not even that good. I don't.
I mean, he can't activate it yet. He can't attack with it yet.
Yeah, he's multiple lands away from activating it because none of his lands currently produce green. So once Andrew Boswell gets to 4 mana, he's
Right, yeah.
just going to play it Olivia, and then assuming Trey doesn't have a removal spell, and I don't think Trey has any cards in his hand, the Olivia could just take over the game.
Yeah, I mean, he's forced to play his lands out because of the threat of Liliana.
Yeah.
Anytime he holds a card in his hand, Andrew ticks up Liliana. Now he changed his mind. Now that Tasiger is here, he goes for Boswell's life total?
Just think, well, there's the Maelstrom Pulse here.
No green for Boz? Huh.
Yeah. Boswell finds a green source. Potentially.
We
I don't know what he's
assume.
fetched up before he got Gettined.
Yeah, there. A lot of these decks. Oh, there's Aven Mind Sensor. Did he find a green source? Is there one in the top 4 cards? I think Boswell forgot about the Aven Mind Sensor, but Trey tapped on it. Only get to search the top 4. There are no green sources in the top 4 for Andrew Boswell. Wooded Foothills fails to find.
That's rough. I think you kind of have to go for it anyway, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's also a chance that Trey forgets to trigger his card, right? I mean, what's he going to do with the, what else is he going to do with the Wooden Foothills? The Aven Mind Sensor is kind of permanent. It's all his creature removal targets players right now. Mind Sensor, chipping away.
Still going for Boswell's life total here.
I think he was worried about the Liliana Ultimate, but he's not worried about the rest of Liliana. He wanted Liliana below the Ultimate.
That makes sense. Oh, and this may just be good enough on its own, though. Olivia Voldaren.
Voldaren.
Vampire Legend. For those of you who don't know about that card at home, it's 2 colorless, a red and a black to cast. 3/3 flying. You can pay a colorless and a red to deal 1 damage to creature an opponent controls,
In other
and
words.
put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then it also becomes a vampire, and then you can pay 7 and gain control of target vampire. If games go long, and Jund is very good at making both players like play on empty. So once you empty out your opponent's hand, stick Olivia, and it just dominates any sort of creature-based matchup.
It's pretty expensive to steal things, though, right?
7. Yeah.
Versus the Armageddon deck.
I don't think he's going to be stealing things. I think he's just going to be pinging things for 1.
Yeah, being able to ping the Mind Sensor has some value. Ghost Quarter. Yeah, let's search for a basic. Would you like to search your top 4 cards? I don't know. Let's see how many basics I have.
Let's take a look. Count how many basics left in his deck.
He's going to ping the Mind Sensor as a response so that the Mind Sensor dies. He wound up killing the Mind Sensor twice, but he does get to search up a land for the Ghost Quarter. Looking at his entire library instead of just the top 4. Oh no! Is he failing to find again?
Did he miscount this?
He must have. Did he sideboard out basic land? That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Oh,
okay.
okay, there's
yeah.
the swamp. No green, though.
Still no green.
Still no green.
Yeah, now, Andrew, I mean, it's just tick-tock at this point. Olivia's really kind of going to just take this
Green
game over, though, I
source.
think.
Raging Ravine.
Like, he can just say go. Shoot kitchen finks a couple times.
Now, are you going to Maelstrom Pulse Leyline here, or are you going to take out the 2 Ghostly Prisons and start attacking?
I think you just take out the ghostly prisons.
I think I agree with you.
Oh.
Hello.
Magus of the Tabernacle.
Magus of the Tabernacle.
So Magus of the Tabernacle is a 2/6 for 3 colorless and a white, and it has the same effect as Tabernacle at Tendril Vale, which is at the beginning of each player's upkeep, they have to pay 1 mana for each creature they control or sacrifice that creature. So every single creature has an upkeep cost of 1 with Magus of the Tabernacle in play. A pretty cool card, very powerful card. It was one of my favorite cards in Limited in that format.
The boss just drew a 2nd copy of Maelstrom Pulse.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
Also, the Magus makes his first Maelstrom Pulse targeting the ley line suddenly turns Liliana into a removal spell. Second Pulse in hand, his line seems pretty straightforward here.
Yeah.
And look, the red-white prison deck had him locked up for a while, but it did not have the ability to close the game. Right, Armageddon was great. It basically took Andrew, 15 turns to recover? Just slowly drawing lands one at a time, even had a fetch land beaten by an even mind sensor. But now look, now they're both empty-handed, and the Jund deck is up 3 cards.
Yeah.
It's up an active Liliana. Now Tassiger and Olivia are attacking. There's no ghostly prisons left. They both die to the Maelstrom Pulse. And Trey Ballou looks like he's going to pick up his first loss of the weekend.
And that's the thing about these types of mid-range decks in Modern is if you want to go long with them, they will go long with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, look, that's fine. Let's dance.
Wow. Drew another boom bust, but did not exactly want to Armageddon and ice this board state, did Trey Blue.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like the best course of action here.
All right, Olivia and Tassiger coming over. Blue's down to 6. 1 draw. Needs to be what? Wrath of God? I guess Kitchen Finks buys him a turn.
Let's see.
Or does it? No, it doesn't. Just fly
He
over
just
for a
attacks Olivia. That's it.
There you go. Andrew Boswell. 5-0 with Jund. Trey Ballou feeling pretty good about his latest incarnation of this Boros bust deck. But does pick up a loss here in round number 5. So we got more Magic to watch. Did I see Andrew Cuneo on our first table?
It looks like it.
I believe that is a game 3.
Ooh, nice.
Andrew on a Jeskai control list, so.
Ooh, one of my all-time favorites in Andrew's hand right now, or on the board for Andrew right now, a Johnny Vengeance.
Really, all-time favorite?
That's one of my all-time favorites.
That's the card that turned into Archangel Tithe in the red-white stacks deck. He used to have a Johnny Vengeance. He upgraded it to Archangel.
I do not think that's an upgrade.
I'm gonna guess that he has more experience with red-white boom bust than you do.
You know what? I'll give you that. I agree.
Control mirror match here, or I mean pseudo mirror, Demir versus Jeskai, but a bunch of untapped blue mana on both sides of the table. I gotta imagine that's good for the guy with 2 planeswalkers though, or at least 1 planeswalker and another one on the stack. Wow. I guess Chipper Dodecan is down to 2 cards in hand. Andrew has, looks like, blown up a Blood Moon with engineered explosives.
Yeah, there was a Teferi in hand there for Chipper.
What is going on with this Demir list?
What? I'm confused as to the. Is this a Mystical Teachings deck? It looks like it's like a Splinter Twin deck.
It's his twin. Yeah, it's Demir twin. It's not Demir control.
Okay.
It's a Demir.
It's just
Well,
Grixis
it's
twin.
Grixis twin.
It's Grixis
I don't know where
twin.
Demir control came from. This is Grixis twin. Pretty straightforward Grixis twin. I mean, he does have Terminates in his Grixis twin deck. He has Kolaghan's Command in his Grixis twin deck.
I'd get behind that. He's Olivia. In the board, I
in
guess?
the board, yeah. Olivia in from the sideboard.
I'm surprised you bring in Olivia against Jeskai control. Maybe you just have so much that you want to take out. This is one of my favorite things to do, the TikTok of a Johnny Vengeant when you have that card. Just counting down to... that's the...
I think Gideon's going to win the TikTok race for the Johnny Vengeance, though.
I think you're right. I don't think there are many more turns to go here.
It's interesting. I kind of like Andrew's positioning for this weekend. He really wanted to play with Electrolyze. I mean, essentially, he's playing a deck with Electrolyzes and Snapcaster Mages. Right? That's what you get when you're from Jeskai control. Against the aggro decks in the field, that's just a great place to be.
I think it's great there. He has Engineered Explosives in his deck. I think that card is tremendously positioned.
Sure. Never have to tap out against the twin player. Here in round 4, Andrew did lose a game. He's got to be in pretty good position to win this, right?
Yeah, I mean, can't he?
I mean, Johnny can kill in 2 hits, right?
Yeah, Johnny can just get him.
Or
Oh,
one
and then
hit Electrolyze
yeah,
plus
and
a
then
Johnny
he can
is
just
one
Helix with the Johnny. Yeah, and that's it.
There you go. Oh, Teferi does nothing.
I bet the Fairy was in Chipper's hand earlier. I was very surprised that he didn't cast that to pressure
I don't know.
Planeswalkers.
Andrew Cuneo. Sporting the Channel Fireball shirt there.
Yeah, 5-0, 25th ranked.
25th ranked. Yeah,
Andrew
one of
Cuneo.
7 ranked players, I think we have. It's interesting. We have 5 of the top 6, and then only like 3 more ranked players. Somehow it just worked out that way. We also do have final. Go ahead.
Oh, Andrew Cuneo actually helped me out on my flight here. I was running through the Dallas airport to catch my flight because I had a 30-minute layover, and I saw Andrew Cuneo boarding the plane ahead of me. And when I was boarding the plane, my cell phone fell out of my bag.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, okay, the stewardess told me I wasn't allowed to get off the plane because I was already on the plane because of a security breach, and I was like, my iPhone is on the runway. Like, I'm positive I know exactly where it fell out of my bag because I was ruffling through my bag there. And she's like, the only way you get off the plane is if you're traveling with somebody else. And I was like, I am. His name is Andrew Cuneo. I don't know what seat he's in. So she was like, if Andrew Cuneo, please ring your call ballot. He rang it. He played along, not even knowing, just in the dark. Good man.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good man, Andrew Cuneo. We do have the final attendance number for this tournament, by the way. 1470.
Wow.